Welcome back to The Creative Lens. Today, the guys are breaking down what projects creators should actually make first, from low-budget feature films to recurring YouTube series, and what works best. The guys also talk the Insta360 X6 rumors that was just cleared by the FCC, and Sony just dropped their new RX10 Mark V today. Who's it actually meant for, and who's going to be buying this camera? Plus, GoPro's founder is personally financing the company now. Sketchy or savior? Let's get into it.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to The Creative Lens. Jake, episode number 14. We are
baby. We've officially crossed the 3 months mark, bro.
We sure have. And it's great to be hanging out here and talking some creator camera stuff with you, man. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Dude, what excites me the most is that we now have consistent viewers. You get to see how many viewers are live with us, and we have people who are who tune in and who know about it. And it's a really cool feeling, and it really goes to show it's this motto that I've been kind of telling myself, which is 1%. Is get 1% better every day. And if you get 1% better every day, you will be in the 1%. Now, the 1% is just the top of whatever thing you want to think about it is. But it's been kind of this running thing in this last week. It's just 1%, because you want to be in the 1% of, if you're an entrepreneur, of business owners or of filmmakers, all of the filmmakers we admire, the content creators we admire, are the 1% of their industry. So I don't know. Inspiration. Jake, inspiration, motivation for the day.
Heck yeah. Everybody needs to start our Thursday with a little bit of Jake inspiration for the day. It's just at 2:30, East Coast time, but I guess it's
11:30
time. It's
West Coast.
You're still kind of in the morning. Yeah. All right, man, we got a lot to get into today, and I think I've got enough to talk about to make a little bit of everybody mad with gear stuff and opinions, and so I'm so excited to get roasted by that. So
we will get into some hot takes today. We have a lot of I think we'll have a lot of strong opinions, because it's not just we're not just going into gear today, but we're going to be going into, as kind of the intro talks about, which is, what are kind of our thoughts on where creators are going, where film is going, where gear is going, what should be. And so I think there's going to be some hot takes, kind of like what you just posted on your Instagram a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
You had some hot take memes going out.
Oh, heck yeah. I got to use the Family Guy when I can. When it fits, I'm it fits. It's pretty good. All right, so break this down with me. Let's just jump into it. You brought this to me, that the C50, so I'm Team Sony, but I started in Canon, and the C50 just got Netflix approved. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So the C50 is officially Netflix approved, which is pretty wild to think about. If I'm not mistaken, this is a $3,500 camera. You can, we could fact check that, somewhere in that $3-ish grand. It's at middle or lower end.
$3,500. I just checked it today because I was like, holy cow! What's the barrier to entry to get into Netflix? And a C50.
I mean, you could do it with the 50 millimeter 1.8, $200 RF lens, and
it's $36.99 right now if you go buy it at B&H, and that came, I think today or yesterday. I just saw the FX3 went back up in price. So that's crazy. FX3 is now back over $4,000 for a 5-year-old camera. And we're supposed to be getting a new FX5, which is starting to disappoint me a little bit more than what we hoped it was going to be. But July 22nd is when it's supposed to become that new FX camera. So we'll have to be live for that and fill out our bingo board. But for $3,700, if you're Team Canon, and you guys in the comments, let us know. Are you Canon, not Sony, Nikon?
Well, I guess Nikon's kind of red now,
Yeah, I mean, they're coming. They get. I saw somebody comment on TikTok that was Nikon's in their glow up phase, or their glow up era. So they're putting some stuff out.
They're working to try to get it there. But it's just kind of crazy to look at you don't need the Alexa, you don't need the best red, you don't a Canon C50. And then, in terms of, additionally with Netflix, they just now released 3 to 20 minute short form videos on their homepage. which, Netflix is really making a play to beat YouTube.
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple episodes ago, but where YouTube is the number one streaming platform over Netflix, over Paramount, Apple, etc., on televisions. And, I said this like on television, and it's wild. So you really see Netflix here trying to make a play, like BuzzFeed Studios, Condé Nast, Hearst Magazines, Tastemade, which I don't know how I feel about that. The blur between social content, like social content creator content and studio production content, the line is blurring more and more than ever before.
It really is. Yeah.
Because you can get freaking podcasts now on Netflix.
Well, and Instagram, I mean, kind of to your point on this, I forgot we switched to now it's over here. But Instagram just made this whole push to now they're going to have long form, like they're testing this out with creators to have TV content, back to 16:9 content for your television. It's an interesting, like you said, blurring lines. Like Instagram is now on your TV. Netflix is doing shorts. It's a weird time. It's an interesting time to be a creator, and I guess more time to have open gate. We need open gate so you can do vertical and horizontal, right?
So, I mean, this is all of the conversation this is so much of the conversation that I wanted to have with you today on this podcast, because, and it really being an open-ended conversation where there is, I don't think, a right answer to it. And, and I definitely would love anyone in the audience listening to this, please chime in, because you have two sides of this conversation. You have the Jake side, which is, the producer director.
Yep.
It's like, okay, great. What is the strategy? Because Netflix will pay you. I don't know how these deals are being done, right? Like, okay, you put your podcast on there. Are you getting paid per stream like YouTube? You're not. Are you getting paid how is that working?
Yeah.
And then you have the Colden conversation as the cinematographer, who it's like, okay, great. Well, what gear are we doing? How are we breaking this down in terms of gear?
What do you need to make it happen?
Yeah. What lights, what cameras, what lenses should we be investing in? And so it's wild. Where do we want to start with? Do we want to start on gear or the filmmaking side?
Let's start. I have occupied our gear space for the last 3 episodes, and I always will be like, all right, we're going to get to Jake's stuff next week. So I want to get to that mentality first, because you have such a good perspective on that. And we haven't really gotten to touch on the actual creator space for a couple of weeks. We've really dove into all the gear, and we have plenty of that to talk about also. But just where do you see this landscape being for either somebody who's going to start out in it or to get better at it? What do you see?
I mean, obviously YouTube and social is the barrier to entry to Netflix is still, there's a lot of gatekeepers. You can't just go click upload, you're on Netflix. So there's still that oh, I'm on Netflix, I'm on Apple, I'm on Amazon. It's still, there's a bit of ooh. Now, I think it's unfortunately lowering the degree of cachet and coolness is still unfortunately lowering a little bit due to the volume of content being put out.
Yeah. Do you see, I'm just curious because you mentioned it, and I know this is a tangent maybe, but do you see Netflix opening that gate up to more creators? I just think about where podcasts starting, and you had to go through a production company basically to get your podcast into Apple's library. Now you just sign up with an Apple email and you can self-publish your podcast to Apple.
Not even.
Yeah.
You Spotify for creators. Spotify is the number one podcasting for an audio platform out there. Just any email and you go, boom, upload. Yeah. And Spotify, like YouTube, but also then YouTube is right behind it or right next to it in terms of video podcasts, which most people now are doing video podcasts.
Yeah. So do you see Netflix as being one of those companies to kind of slowly open that barrier to entry up to compete with somebody like YouTube?
I think it has to. Like, it's annoying, but I think, because I'll take it on the antithesis, right? Is you have Apple TV and Amazon Prime, right? Neither of those have to do entertainment. And I think Apple TV is, in my opinion, curating much better than Prime. Prime is still trying to satisfy everybody. So they'll take anything and everything and just have it on the platform. Nobody's like, ooh, let me go. Like, they have a couple kind of semi-hit shows and movies that kind of come out. But in terms of like awards and like actual recognition, Apple TV, in my opinion, is one of the best to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they don't have to do it. They can not make money on it. They can break even on all of it. And it's fine because they have all their devices where they're making money. Same thing with Amazon. Amazon is just a behemoth. Netflix lives and dies by content and subscribers.
Yeah. So, and advertising, though. People sleep on that a lot. That they're like phenomenal advertisers. Like, they make a lot of money through advertising.
Oh, through the low tier.
Yeah.
Advertise. See, and that's the thing. So will they open up? Will they have Netflix creator division?
Yeah.
You know, that is a reality. I can see that can happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Will it be in the next 12 to 24 months? I don't know. But 5, 10 years with YouTube constantly being, the lowest barrier to entry, but also the most remunerative for content creators.
Right.
It's a very interesting thing to see it, because, there's a lot of coming from traditional Hollywood, right? Film, like you had box office, you had very open numbers that you could see. And it's in a similar way, the same thing with YouTube. You have very open numbers. This video got 1 million views. This is the watch time on the video. This is how many ads were played on your video.
Right. And this is your ad buy. You even know how much you're making.
What your RPMs are, what your CPMs are, right? Like it's overt. There's nothing hidden. Netflix is completely hidden.
Yep.
Nobody knows. It's not broadcasted, right? Like, you can kind of see how many people watch it internally. Like, if I don't have a film or any project on Netflix, but like, I'm assuming the people who know your project kind of get kind of some data back, but I don't think it's a lot. Again, there's a lot of mystery and like, oh, and I think because of that, like, the compensation is just, it's hard. And so I think Netflix is going to have to, if they're going to do that, open up numbers, and they're going to have to reveal data that they've never revealed before.
Well, and it would be a strategy shift for them. You might know this better than I do, but I remember reading an article about payments and like how Netflix does deals. And like almost all of them are full buyouts, right? Like, we'll fund your movie, but we own it from here on out. You don't get residuals. You don't get anything else. So
no royalties.
For that, that's almost a reason to keep data back, because if you're going, well, I did 6 billion views worldwide, you're going to ask for more money. And if they just buy you out and say flat. So that would be an interesting model shift in terms of, if you're going to a YouTube model, you got to open that up and let us know. And you're like, what are you going to, would you buy a show out for $100? Like, if you're a lower tier creator, like, what are you doing buyouts for? You could just do like a revenue share, like what Google does with YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I like the idea of opening that up and competing with YouTube.
Yeah. All right. We got a question. What are we yapping about? So we're basically talking about what is kind of the future of filmmaking in the sense of content creators, where, you have these amazing filmmakers like Curry Barker, Kane Parsons, and Markiplier coming up on YouTube and releasing it to feature films. But we're talking about basically Netflix just recently starting August 3rd, they just announced this, I should say, but it's coming up on August 3rd. Will now release 3 to 20-minute short form, videos on their homepage. And so Netflix is looking a lot more and more like YouTube, which is wild. And so, I think YouTube, where there is no barrier to entry, you have a guy like Kane Parsons. I just saw this interview and I should have marked it. Dang it. But he talked about that he never worried about the algorithm. He makes one thumbnail and just goes, great, here you go. And he's like, I built enough trust in the content I was making that there was kind of this agreement with my audience that, yes, great. But he just didn't play the game of that, where, Curry's talked about like, hey, you kind of get wrapped into it, kind of what needs to do it. But all of his directorial stuff, in the sense of like the short film, The Chair, his first feature film, Milk and Cereal, like those were just, he tried the traditional route, failed each time, in the sense of nobody wanted. The Chair was like, okay. But it went viral on YouTube. And then Milk and Cereal, again, try to go get a distributor, didn't work out. And then from there, he then, was able to get enough interest in Milk and Cereal, which then got him Obsession, and then Obsession, obviously, but it's the traditional route. But he was able to hone in his skills via YouTube.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to get you get instant feedback. That's my biggest thing that I think is so great about having open platforms like YouTube, is that you get real-time analytics on what's working, what's not working, what's yapping versus actually working. I don't know. I mean,
we're
it's
not
just, you
talking
literally
about gear, and no one cares.
I care.
Well, I appreciate you humoring me, Colden, on this episode, because I find this stuff fascinating, and clearly I need to do more of this, and on my channel. So,
well, it felt timely because I sat in on Todd's interview. I did Todd's show this week, and he had a guy on who was just in Australia shooting with this band with the Luna Ultra. And we were talking about use cases, what it was good for, what it wasn't good for. And he was talking about how he's finally at a place where he doesn't feel like he needs to buy anything else to upgrade his kit. Everything in his kit serves a purpose and it works. And I do feel like it's so easy. Like I love to obsess over gear and new stuff and new technologies and where this industry is going, what things get easier. But if you don't have an output in mind, then you're just buying tools to have a collection, So I like this idea of like, if you're a creator starting out, if you're looking at buying your first camera, or how do I get into this, or I want to be a director, then having that output should supersede. It should come before you just go buy the newest camera, because you might not need it. And it might not, like we started breaking down because we covered the A7R6 when that came out, the new Sony camera that's like crazy megapixels, fully stacked sensor. I was like, he has an R5. I said, did you ever have an interest? We covered the R6 on our podcast. He said, I didn't need it. The R5 works perfectly for me. There's nothing that I need to do my job, and it's not going to do my job better. So I think having an output in mind helps. Then you go and invest in the right gear and not just collecting gear for gear's sake, So I like that.
I agree. And so to dive into that a little bit more, it's like the problem that I'm facing right now is I need to do a gear upgrade. I've kind of like collected gear over, like, oh shit, I need a tripod. Okay, I'm gonna get a tripod.
Yeah.
There's kind of two kind of overall arching problems or things that I see, which is one, like it's gear, because I see gear in two uses, and they're kind of two different uses. One is like client work that you and I do, right? Whether it's social media, podcasting, or it could be more commercial work, right? But there's that type of gear. It's the same gear overall, but they have very different use cases versus like narrative or high-end, like even like high-end doc work, right? Like you have different gear for different uses. And if you don't niche down of like, this is the content I do, like I'm a wedding photographer, then you have very specific gear. But for you and I who do and I think I kind of maybe answered the question just in itself right there, that's the issue, is that I haven't niched down into a niche to going, great, this is the very specific gear I need because this is what I do. If you're doing this multi-purposing, like, oh, I shoot podcasts, but I also will shoot your talking head social media content. And I also want to make a movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you need 3 sets of gear.
But also, who owns the gear to make a movie? Like that to me feels like such next level. Like you can own some lights and you can practice. And that's where, I mean, I'd like
as we talked about, you can make a movie with it now. Like Netflix has approved that camera to make movies with.
You can shoot it, but you can't just make a movie if you go buy the C50. I was watching, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but like there was a little interview with Curry Barker's like lighting tech. I didn't realize how much they reshot of Obsession in a studio on a volume wall.
Yeah.
And
with
so like
car scenes, their pickups. Yeah.
A lot of stuff. They did pickups on this big volume wall. And so like, to me, that's like, even though, yeah, you're kind of starting out small and slow with minimal gear, like, dude, they shot like a week or two on this volume wall with techs that had the whole thing programmed the whole way around. And they like, he was telling like how you set the lights and then they flipped the car. They kept everything, the volume stayed the same, everything stayed the same. They just would flip the actual car around to get coverage, which was nuts.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah. So you went, I mean, break this down. Where's your dilemma that you're feeling in this gear thing? Because you went to Utah and we talked about this offline a little bit of just like, you were struggling between what you had and what you wanted. Like what's the hole in the package right now?
That's the next, you could say the next dilemma is what does professional gear look like now?
Yeah.
You know, there's the joke within our industries, you know, put the matte box on. What you said it earlier in our pre-call. What did you call it?
Oh, you can charge like $500 more to a client if you put the matte box on. Like if you show up to set and you have rails and a top handle and a matte box versus you have like a little like mirrorless camera, it's stupid, but it looks different.
And that's the issue that I run into is like, it's the same camera, you know, It could be our Sony FX3, a Canon R6 Mark II, like, but you throw a cage, exactly what you said, cage, matte box, rails, this, that, like, and that was kind of the impression I had very early on, right? Was like, oh, it needs to look good. And then I was like, this is freaking annoying to set this all up and for me not to use any of it. And, you know, again, I had the same thing. Oh, you need the big sturdy tripod that's, 10 pounds. And traveling to Utah with 2 of those, it's a pain in my ass.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I then worked on another set where I was just a cam op and the client is a production company and they just had these 2 small Peak Design 3-pound lightweight travel. We're shooting on FX3s. And it's like, that's easy. And I'm like, it's the same thing. And it's the dilemma I run into. And I'm like, I just like, because then again, also like so much of social now is not the product you make, is not the videos that we do, but us making videos. Right. And all my behind the scenes, all my setup doesn't look fancy and like legit. And I'm like, does that matter anymore? Does it not matter? And it's a weird vanity thing. And I'm like, am I buying gear for vanity metrics versus use case?
Yeah.
But
and
it's also
where you're
vanity
stuck right now? Like, is that
of clients too?
Yeah. but you're delivering into the same output, right? Like, I mean, has a client come to you and been like, we need more output, or like, where's the dilemma in your head? Because I do feel like you can get sucked into the wall of like just buying for buying's sake, and nobody wants.
No,
to
that's the thing. It's like, it's not like, oh, we need more this or that. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like, okay, great. If I showed up with smaller tripods, is that people, are they going to look at me and judge me? And it's more that, like, I have a big shoot coming up next week, and I'm like, and it's a bigger agency shoot. And how much of it does I need to justify? Like, if I showed up with my R6 versus, I don't know, would they know the difference between an R6 and a C50? Or does it need to look like a C300? The difference in look between an FX3 versus an FX6 looks very different. The FX6 like look, but like, does that matter?
Yeah. I don't know. Lighting kits are easier to use. Some fancy job. I get it, man. Ugly works. Like, I like this. This is a great comment. Did we do it again where we clicked on the same thing at the same time?
No, it's up now.
Got it. Lighter kits are easier to use. I'm 100% with you, man. Like, I agree and I disagree, I guess, because there are certain things that, like, if you're working bigger than the heavier or more professional or caged out, whatever, there are certain use cases where that just feels really like it's really good. But if you're a content creator, the heavier you get, like, I have a cage, I almost never use it. I just, like, if it's a big shoot and I need to rig something out, it's cool. If not, like you said, Jake, like, it's easier to move around lighter sometimes than to be all built out. I very rarely need a matte box.
And I never need a matte box. If anything, I like flares.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. I was listening to a podcast, the 505 podcast with Daniel Schiffer, who had made a feature film recently. But again, big YouTube filmmaker, he made this feature film with Matty Hapoya. And he was talking about, like, it's like, what would you do differently? He's like, I would go leaner. He's like, I am able to do so much by myself because I have the experience. I've been doing this for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever it was, on his YouTube channel for clients that, like, he's like, I got caught up in the, like, oh, we need the crew and the gear and the feature film. Yeah. And he's like, I would do it smaller because I don't need that. And it's the problem I see with Hollywood, having worked on the feature films. There's an aspect of like, whoa, it needs to, like, and sometimes you do need that. And I think it was an interview I heard with David Fincher, or something about David Fincher. He talked about how after the first day, or like at lunch or something like that, if anything is not pulled off the grip in an electric truck that first day, he puts a sticky on it and it's all gone. Yeah. He's like, great, we don't need it. Now, good. Do you need it for certain days? Probably, but like, rent it for just that day then. Don't just rent it to rent it. And it's something I think a lot of us, especially when it's not your money, you go, great. Like, there's a friend of my wife's and I, who's an actor, who is producing his first big short film that stars him. He wrote it. He's producing it to star in it. And he has a 15-person crew shooting on an Alexa. And I'm like, dude, this is the first thing you've ever written. And he's, maxing out credit cards to make it. And I did that and I learned my lesson. You learn your lesson real quick. We got to get the reps in. You got to get the reps in, and like, it's not worth it. So
I've seen that. I mean, in film school though, too, I saw people breaking the bank for like first big projects out. Yeah. And if you're using it and you really, because I've seen people hit though, And if you hit and you can springboard that onto the next big thing, and you kind of already have that mindset in, like, it can be great, but you're gonna miss a whole lot more swings than you home run. Like, you just need, like you said, you need the reps. I have one. I want to follow up here though, Burlap. I appreciate the commentary and the thoughts here. So if you're still hanging around, here's my dilemma that I just recently bought heavier. And I think, Jake, you and I have talked about this. Grip stands. I just bought 2 really nice C stands because for years I've been traveling a lot and I have the really light aluminum stands. And God, they're light. They fit in a travel case. You know, we can throw them in a golf bag, but that's where I was like, I need heavier for anything that I'm doing local here. That's where I want to show up. That's the only place where I don't want to show up, put a light up on a stand and have it like blowing in the wind. Like, it'll probably stay up. I've got enough dirt on it, but I'm an advocate for CC.
Yeah. And that's the balance. And I think, I mean, I answered my own question and I realized it, which was, it's the niche that you're in. Like,
yeah,
stick it's a problem that I've had personally, because I like doing lots of different things and I haven't nailed down a niche, but like, yep.
We're in agreement on that one. That's the only thing. And by the way, I'll just shout out here too. I agree with you on the used gear and like finding bodies. I was 3 episodes ago. I've been like talking about it a little bit each episode. I bought a Nikon ZR on Facebook Marketplace for like hundreds of dollars off with the lens and all the like memory cards and stuff with it. And like, huge advocate for that. If you can find them, there's so many good deals used online, as long as you know what to, I kind of look at it like buying a car. Like, you just need to be able to go in, make sure that the sensor works, like make sure that you don't have dead pixels, because there are plenty of wedding photographers that go out there. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had to like find one on Facebook Marketplace, but like, you hit one of the DJ's laser lights the wrong way and you can burn through that sensor, and then it goes on Facebook Marketplace the next day.
And you're burning through shutter, you know.
So know what you're looking for, but like used gear, man, that's a great way to collect stuff and take that like 30% brand new price tag off of it right away. That's a great suggestion.
All my lenses,
2K for a the Blackmagic 6K. Yes, I love that. And I think everybody here then is the fan of the Blackmagic team. I've got the 4K.
Amazing.
I think, Jake,
I got a couple of
6Ks, 4Ks.
I got a couple of 4Ks. My brother has 6Ks. Yeah. I mean, they're just,
and I'm like 10 steps into the water on buying the Pixis 12K already. So just don't, Burlap and Lighting Productions, don't give me a reason to go like put my credit card down on that 12K yet. I don't need more peer pressure yet, but that's my next, like, it's just, but again, I need a project for it first, because right now it would be overkill for any commercial corporate project that I'm doing. I need a good project for that 12K, and then the credit card goes down.
Let's do it. We'll find something.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's really it is, because like I saw documentary director DP just on YouTube the other day talking about like, here's my lighting kit. Like, but again, he shoots like corporate docs.
Yeah.
He's got it dialed in. It's like, great, I'm traveling to a new city. I need it really light. I need like, it's consistent. Like, this is what I need to service exactly who I serve and to make the things that I need to make. And it makes sense. It's like where a buddy, you know, we were talking about this offline the other day too, was like another friend of mine who's a professional DP invested in a set of Cook lenses, you know, spent the $100,000 on a set of 6 lenses or whatever it is, because he goes, great, I'm going to come with all my projects to that. He's not shooting, you know, oh, hey, let me, you know, shoot about this, you know, tax firm.
Yeah.
You know, or if he still is, it's like, great, I'm working a couple of those projects to help pay for the bills while.
Yeah. Yeah. Set of Cook lenses
set of Cook lenses. But again, hey, hire me to do your feature film. I come with a set of Cook lenses.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it's a great selling point. And so, you know, if you're doing higher end work, to have something like that and be like, great, I know I have my gaffer who comes with a full light kit and my key grip who comes with a grip truck. We're set. Like, that makes sense. And so these are the things that keep me up at night. And I thought it'd be fun to, you know, I don't know if anybody else on the chat cares about what keeps me up at night, but I thought, Colden, it'd be fun to chat about this.
Well, I've got one, and kind of keeping in our G&E conversation right now, because I just thought about this yesterday and I was like, this was the only extra light that I would maybe put in my kit and not just rent, because I'm all on. We've talked about this on this show a couple of times. At this point, if I'm traveling to you, we're going to get a rental house close. A lot of them will deliver. I've like flown back to LA and shot projects, and they just delivered. We had a whole truck basically get delivered.
Amazing.
So if I'm traveling to you, I would much rather just fly with my camera body and lenses, and we'll get the G&E shipped to us, or like we'll rent it there. But you bought this Nanlite 720, and yesterday I was doing a bunch of camera tests, and I was going, I need more than my 300 can output to like properly overexpose this. Have you pulled that out of the kit much? Uh-oh.
I haven't pulled it out once yet.
Okay.
Not
well, I
one.
think you just helped me not spend the money on it then.
But I have a project coming up next week, which I will probably use.
Yeah.
Because again, it'll be in a location, but like it's one of those. Yeah. I mean,
there's just a couple of times where a 300 is just not quite enough to punch through a window. And so that's where I'm like,
mainly when you're dealing with the sun, and it's like, and at that point, like I'd rather just own the one light, you know, a 720, a 1200 or something like that, that can like punch out the sun or punch enough with the sun. And like, fine, you don't need anything more than that. But again, I think it's very interesting in terms of owning gear, of just like, what is the niche you're sticking to? And like, I don't know, that I'm going to repeat it because it's just my own realization right now. Like, you know, hey, you know, we're using this show as personal therapy to like get through our problems. Next thing you know, I'll tell you about my mother issues. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right. We'll get into that next week. We'll see.
That'll be next week. Why does my mom want me to switch to Sony?
Yeah. Well, everybody, you know, everybody out here does. Life studio need to go out of business. Yeah, man. I actually was working down in Miami, and actually with a whole G&E team that had a studio that went out, and like part of them blamed it on, and I don't know where it is, you know, each company goes out for different reasons, but literally Aperture and Amaran, they were saying, are partially putting some of these G&E studios out of business because you can buy it cheaper than you can rent the more professional gear. It was just interesting. They were like, yeah, man, when those guys, people just started buying 600Ds, they didn't need to rent stuff anymore. And it was tough on rental houses. So I fully see something like people going out of business for that stuff because it is cheaper and easier. It's almost harder to keep those things in stock in a rental studio. But
I also think that there's a lot of fluctuation and change in terms of studios. I mean, we were talking about this offline, which, you know, we were debating putting into the show run of show or not. But, you know, California, finally, Gavin Newsom just put $750 million as a tax credit back into the state, which it very much needed. You know, we were very much, I'm based out here in LA. Colden left us. And, you know, we got a heat wave this week, but, you know, I think that's partially, it's like, you know, we had fires, and we've like, especially in the LA area, it's like, you know, between the fires last year, between the strikes, and like but a lot of it is the tax incentives. It's like, if you can get 30% back to your budget, like you can add essentially a third of your budget for just being in a state. Like, why are you not going to go shoot in that state if it has the infrastructure, if it has the people, the crew to be able to facilitate that. Like, you got to be competitive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what you and I talked about. And I think we could have a whole episode on this, but I would be interested to see, though, because they chased so many people out, that there are huge infrastructures in Arizona, in Atlanta, in Florida. Like, there are in Georgia, there are lots of places that you can go and shoot big volume walls. I think Marvel has a big studio out in Arizona, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like a big giant studio set. I would be interested if you can lure people back, or if the infrastructure's already been built out in other places that also have tax incentives. Like, I'm all for competition, though, because it will make making the movie cheaper, at least if you can save it on taxes. It's better than saving it on AI.
I 100% agree. Like, it's an interesting world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
And so in terms of use cases, would you ever use a 360 camera?
If we're getting into this,
I think
I would say
that was my attempt at a transition.
I like it.
That was my attempt.
100%. Very good transition. I like it. You guys in the chat, would you use a 360 camera?
Because
I have
news on the 360 on 360 camera front. And
yeah.
So let's talk about use cases first of how and where we would use it, and then we'll use that to either convince us to buy the new camera that's coming out or not.
Yes. Well, okay. So, man, now you got to make me jump around on my here. Okay. So
it was the next thing.
What you got up here?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. Here we go. Insta360.
Well, I didn't even want to get into that yet. I didn't want to.
I'm here because I had people asking, because of this whole Luna launch, they were like, okay, what happened to the X6? This was a big deal when they kind of just dropped the Luna. They missed their window for when they've usually been doing these 360 launches. I don't know. I jumped the gun. I'm sorry, Jake, but this is cool to me because I was like, I don't know. I have the X4. So Burlap and Light Productions, I don't have the X5. There wasn't enough of a jump. So you have to tell me if these specs look enough to get you from the X5 to the X6. They're calling it like game changer, but everybody calls everything game changer when they have like the new iPhone's a game changer because it's 5% faster. I hate that marketing terminology. But here are the rumored specs. It's supposed to be coming out August or September. It's cleared the FCC. So they got everything certified. Big announcement. And so this article right here was basically just kind of trying to extrapolate and go, okay, if we use Insta360's general timeline for once it clears FCC to when it launches, they're guessing that it's going to be September or August. And so here's, July 3rd, that's when it came out. Here's between August and mid-September in 2026. Rumored specs. So from the X5, you got 8K at 30. Now you're going to jump up to 8K at 60. And maybe Burlap and Light Productions, since you have the X5, do you get 10-bit in that? Or was the Luna the first Insta360 camera to get 10-bit? Because that is a big deal that this is going to have 1-inch sensor and 10-bit colors. To me, like, that was huge. So maybe you can verify with that. Have you, Jake, you haven't used one of these. Luna was the first. Okay. I was right on that one because that was something that was sorely lacking with the Insta360 world, is that their colors were just very difficult to work with.
So I got the GoPro.
Oh God, you told me about
version of that. But the V1, when it first came out, I got gifted it. I used it once. I did not know how to export it and use and clip, and because it was like two micro SD cards. I was so overwhelmed by it. I never used it. It's again, talk about bad gear purchases and gear that like sits on a shelf, never to be used, and is can't even sell. Is that that camera has definitely been one of those like, well, that was a waste of money.
Yeah.
Or a waste of a gift. I don't know if it was a gift or I bought it. I don't even remember at this point. It was so long ago. And I try to, block it out. But
you got owned on the GoPro Gen 1. Anything GoPro Gen 1 tends to be rough, but at least it didn't fall out of the sky like their drone did. You just couldn't export anything. So
yeah,
it didn't fall onto somebody.
Yeah.
So it's slightly better.
This is, this is exactly how I want to use it too. Is I want to use it for behind the scenes, because if I can mount it on my cage or on my shoulder, or on my head, like wherever, or just even put it on a tripod. And while I'm kind of running around shooting or whatnot, like that ability. But I feel like obviously people are making, and I see it all the time. There's, I think Steadicam Red, I think that's his name on TikTok and on Instagram, Steadicam operator who throws his, 360 cam on his Steadicam and gets awesome behind the scenes. Like, perfect filmmaker behind the scenes. You're like, it's fantastic. I don't know. He used to pop up on my feed a bunch. I don't know if he's still posting or not, but it's 100% that would be my use case scenario. Like, I'm not a influencer vlogger going, hey, let me go on this travel adventure. Or, I see the funny videos with dogs and like, I enjoy all of those, but from like a actual use case, I think it as a behind the scenes compared to like a GoPro on the chest or this, like, I feel like it has a better use case because of the 360 abilities. I just, the post flow on it just scares the shit out of me because I have zero understanding of how to do it.
Well, and I think Insta360's app, I've heard it from everybody. The app on the phone honestly works better than if you're trying to do it on the studio app on your computer, on your Mac or on your PC. That is wildly difficult to do. On the phone, it's really, really easy. So for me, what I found is that it replaced all of my action, take it on vacation, go do anything cameras, because you don't have to reframe it. And yes, thank you. We're in all full agreement, and then I'm gonna fight you in just a minute, so I apologize for that in advance. But yeah, the desktop app sucks, but it's replaced everything for just kind of the like action adventure cam. It's so nice to just be able to kind of hold the camera out and not have to worry about framing it, reframe it later. Here's where I think I disagree with you though, because I was talking with Jake about this before the show. I actually think you need, and it sounds so dumb, but I think you need more than 8K to get me excited about it, because here's my only, like, I think 8K is stupid for most things. But when you crop down to a 9:16 out of 8K, you're at like 2.7. So you're just a little bit above what you would deliver to social media, but it still looks soft to me because 8K is like the full circle, this full sphere. So you have 4K and 4K on each side. Maybe because this new X6 has a 1-inch sensor, maybe that'll look better. But man, I mean, I was telling Jake,
if it does 10-bit color, that
you'll
could
have
be
more colors too. But you like, and maybe it's all just Insta360 too, is I felt like it just looks like over sharpened mess a little bit when you really try and zoom it in. Like if you just need, I'm going to take a full reframed square, but if you want to zoom in it all on it and like put it in linear mode, I don't know. That's just the one thing, the one disadvantage is the Ks sound like a lot. And then when you actually get it into reframing, you're like, oh, this is like 10. It looks like 1080. So that's the only downside of that.
Because it is 360. So it's like,
right.
Cool. It is it 8K, but is it not? Like, is it at like, it's not just like, okay, this is my frame.
Right.
It's like,
that's the hardest part.
Everything is my frame.
That's so like where the Pixis 12K, nobody shoots on 12K. But I honestly think 12K, now imagine that being built into this tiny little camera, but that's where 12K would make the most sense, because then you think, okay, you have 180 degrees is 6K. punch that into like a regular rectangle. Now it's only 4K, but now you can deliver 4K in a punched in frame. And now you can do single lens. You could do the single lens and just kind of point it at something. You do get 4K, which is great kind of wizardry that Insta360 figured out how to do. But then you are stuck with kind of the GoPro mentality of now you do have to frame it. You do have to put it where you want it to be versus, that's the only thing that I would think I kind of want 12K on that one, but I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I love the videos where, I think Insta360's done such a brilliant job of like the hidden selfie stick.
Yeah.
And just that feature, I think is, in my opinion, one of the coolest features about it, because you can really get away with so much. And, I love the, like, I don't know. I always, anytime I see a 360 video, I always am a fan.
Yeah.
Just the post flow on it. So it might be something I pull a trigger on.
What I put a bet on, and that is going to be the hardest thing, is like, and were you on Todd's channel yesterday with Dan? Is that what you were talking about when we were kind of going back and forth on the 360 stuff? But like getting those files managed. I mean, I'm shooting on the ZR. It's not going to be as bad as the ZR to have 12K and super compressed, but I don't know. That's just the one place where it's also, I would say, the 360 cameras are not ones that I'm just like spray shooting for hours. I'm like doing a snowboard run, or I'm on my dirt bike for like 30-second clips because I'm not using it for like a sit-down interview. So it's a place where I would be okay with slightly larger files if I could get that 4K reframed output. That's just, that's the hard part with it. But I would, if they could do it, that would be a really compelling. It's an interesting camera. I want to see now, will this be another insane launch thing that they did, that Insta and DJI have been fighting over, or is this going to be a more normal where we actually get reviews that aren't just paid for? We get to see what the camera looks like that isn't just like embargoed to all hell. Like, if I can see what it looks like, I'd be interested, because I have the X4. So I don't know, a 1-inch sensor over the 1 1/3 sensor that's in mine. It could be cool. And I love them. Jake, I know you are stuck on the GoPro version, but you got to get a new one. Maybe when I come to LA, I'll like, you can have
bring
mine.
Show it to me. Yeah. I just need to know, like, oh, this is actually not that scary, because I would love to, if this all works, I think it'll be a normal launch. I think they'll do it as a normal launch. This seems like it got cleared with the SEC. It's seemingly but
I hope we get back to normal.
No real competitor to it. That's the thing. This is like their Insta360's flagship product. Like
the DJI and Extra have basically the same between the X4 and the X5 technology that they're selling. So they could, fight them on their home turf. Cause I do think Insta360 came after DJI with their Luna. DJI should go after him for the 360 stuff. I'd like to see who can win it, but
yeah,
we'll see.
It's be interesting.
Oh, and Burlap and Lighting Productions, you can back me up on this for Jake. I think the best way to reframe this, Jake, which I don't think the GoPro does, is you can have like basically director viewfinder and record just your keyframing in post, where you're like holding your phone and you literally reframe it by like looking around with your phone as the video's playing. So in terms of like almost straight live playback, that's the coolest way.
Kind of like, obviously it's different, but where like you can multicam switch live and it can record your cuts. This is the like 360 auto framing, but just live in app. So you're like, okay, great. Oh, hey, here, I want to track this person going this way. Great. Then we're going to go back here, or I want to swing up and go down, or whatever.
It reminded me of like if you're on a production.
Can you do it at the same time where we'll zoom in and zoom out type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that makes it easy. I like that. My thing is this: when I record, and it's probably just got to be like a mental workflow on it. It's like I probably am like, because I'm the asshole who just goes record. Good. I'm going to deal with it later, rather than like record, like, because I want it obviously behind the scenes, but it's like really needing to like press record, press stop, and like really think with clips rather than here's a 35-minute behind the scenes and I need 2-3 clips from it.
Right. But if you're doing that, I mean, that's where 12K would be really painful to have. So then you would switch down into the 8 or 4K mode if you're going to record for 30 minutes. See, it could work, but you were there. I mean, the cool part is like what I've used it for is you're there so you know the important part. So you kind of scrub to where is important. And then you literally like live can kind of turn the camera, and it's a much more fluid like motion of the 360 space than if you were going to go try and keyframe it one by one, and it just always looks bad. So I love the director viewfinder. It reminds me of like really professional drone sets. If you've had like professional drone pilots on a set before and you have one person who's literally just flying the drone and the other person has like either a monitor or the goggles on and they're framing the shot the whole time. That's basically you're both people, but you can, and I think, I mean, I've taken it snowboarding and dirt biking and stuff like that. So like I can take it. I was there. I did the run, but then after the fact, I can be like, oh, I'm going to zoom into that tree. And then I'm going to pan over here where I was right next to my friend. And like, you can
100%, cool. You got to put it in the bag for when you come out here and you know, do some.
Yeah. It's a cool thing. So that'll lead into though, this is a thought that I've had. So I'm ready to like piss everybody off, I guess. We have covered the Luna and the Extra Muse and the DJI, all these pocket cameras. And I'm just like, when I sit down and think about it, Jake, I need your thoughts, and you guys that are watching, feel free to roast me and tell me I'm wrong. Is this just a little overblown of a fad, or is it really that impressive of a camera? Because so
the
much
360 or
we're jumping.
gimbal,
Sorry, we're jumping now. The gimbal camera.
Just gotta clarify. We gotta clarify.
No, I appreciate it because I kind of jumped in my head, but not for everybody else. I just have seen so much footage, and maybe it's just because I'm in deep to it right now, but like you don't actually need a gimbal for most of these like creator shots. And so that's just where I'm like, is it the best form factor?
Yes and no. Look, I think there's an aspect of this that I think is we're looking at these gimbals, to be honest, from here. We're looking at it as people who own Ronins, who work with Steadicam ops, like who work.
But Jake, how often do you use your Ronin?
Every other shoot.
Every shot of every other shoot?
No, I mean, yesterday I was on a shoot, used it the entire day. But that's what we were going for. Like, I've rigged out my Ronin. I actually used the crane, the Shun, whatever. Whatever. I love how Ronins become the default though for
it's like Kleenex. Yeah,
exactly. Like but you know, I've rigged out my gimbal to put my monopod at the base of it.
Right.
So I was doing kind of like tracking with like a vlog essentially for a client. And so I'm running around following him with the gimbal, and then he's kind of sitting and talking. And so I'm like, great, set the monopod down. Great. Now we're up and moving again. So like, it doesn't kill my arms. It's instead of having a full, you know, vest, easy rig, this is my way of doing it. And so having had to follow around lots of people with the gimbal and have my arms absolutely be murdered after 2 times, this was kind of the solution I figured out. Now, and again, it goes back to niche. What is your niche? If you're shooting, you know, podcasts, no, you don't need a gimbal.
Right.
But I look at it at the reason why I say we're looking at it from the top down, the bottom, rather than the bottom up. If you're, you know, and I think it's exactly what Todd said on our show last week, 2 weeks, a couple weeks ago, whatever. He's like, this is the perfect dad cam. And that's the mindset where I think that's the bottom up. We're looking at, this is the dad, the mom, the upcoming content creator who goes, okay, I'm going to let the phone be the phone, but I want to shoot with the gimbal. And it's like, this is cool. And it's like a couple $100. It's $600, $700. Or I want to just start getting into YouTube. Great. I can selfie this now. Like, it's
sure.
That's the way I like. Yeah, 100%. So you don't get this. You get actually cool, stable shots. I can follow my friends while we're skateboarding. I can basically, it's the alternative, in my opinion, of like what GoPro sold us when we first started out. Of like, whoa, you can get these cool action shots. It's the, hey, now you can get these cool, smooth shots. You can talk to it. You can do this. It is that entry level to vlogging, content creation, and to YouTubing, for lack of a better way of saying, but like in the traditional sense of what a YouTuber is defined as, camera. Yeah, that's my take.
To me, here's my thought: is like this as a form factor compared to shit, it's plugged in. Hold on. Okay. Like this as a form factor just makes so much more sense than this is a form factor. Like
but it's back to what we talked about, which is use case. They're two different use cases,
but they're getting so close. And that's where, like, to me, here's like, where does it totally make sense? I think the GoPro, or just the GoPro like form factor, if you've got really good, which I think GoPro is top of class at electronic image stabilization. I mean, have you shot on the 13? It's so smooth. You can run and it looks great. If you're vlogging out in the middle of the day, I love the wide angle lens. It fits in my pocket. You can hold it out. And the new ones sync with a microphone, and it's
do they really?
Yeah. So that to me is like
Colden. Are you not hating on GoPro right now?
That's where I said, like, and I'm about to do a story hating on GoPro.
What is going on? Colden, clearly
this is not
off some medications, or you're on some sort of medications, because
I told you, man, my allergies have been killing me. But this is not
just the allergies talking. It's just the allergies talking.
But this is not, but I feel this all the time. This is not a great form factor. And when do and another thing that this will never do is Z-axis stabilization. You have to put it on a tilt-a-hydra thing, or like some version of that if you want that. So all you're doing is stable this, which is not the hard part of a gimbal. And so to me, and that's where I'm just like, right now, I mean, I watched like Peter McKinnon did this, and it's not this. It was the Luna, which is better than the Pocket 3, but like, this is going to replace all of your cameras. And I'm just going, it's a tool, and it's kind of a cool tool, and I definitely like it. But to me, this has one, maybe two phenomenal use cases, which is reframing and tracking. To me, and we talked about this is still my favorite behind the scenes camera, because I can auto track it to me, and then it can pan and tilt and follow me around the scene, and it cuts right in. I don't have to go reframe it after the fact. Like, that makes sense to me. But when I watch, like, oh, you need one of these to be a vlogger.
So what's the alternative though for the upcoming vlogger? It's that, or,
well, we can get into that next, which is
GoPro,
there's the,
like, do you want, and so that is
what do you want? Though. Yeah. What do you want? GoPro, because that's hard.
A Luna, an Osmo, or do you jump into DSLRs?
Right.
You know,
well, the $700-800 mark has never been more competitive. I think you have so many options in the 700 or 800.
But that's my point, and I think that's my point why the gimbal is attractive.
Yeah,
is that $700-800, that $500 to $700 mark, right? Like, you're moving into low level prosumer, like the low level DSLRs.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky if you can find something that, or point and shoot camera to vlog on. But like, to me, these replaced all the point and shoots. Like you don't need a point and shoot. You can take this. And I think there's something nicer. The funny thing is I would prefer to vlog on the Osmo or the Luna rather than the GoPro.
Why is that?
Because I like the selfie stick feel rather than the I'm holding a block, like I like, because I would put a selfie stick on a GoPro.
I was gonna say, Jake, I would hate to blow your mind here. You know, you can buy a selfie stick for this thing.
Sure, and that's my point. Is I would still buy a selfie stick,
right?
But there's the aspect of, is that like, and maybe it's a psychological thing because I haven't seen that on GoPros of the pushing the stabilization, but there's that sensation of, oh, it's stable. It's more professional. Like there's that instinctual marketing, whatever, with the gimbal, right? That you don't have on GoPro.
Yeah, I would totally argue it's just physical versus electronic. To me, this is just like, and I'm not knocking. I mean, obviously, I bought this one, and I'm a huge fan of the Pocket 3. I just feel like sometimes it's a little, what I've seen just feels so overhyped in like you're kind of making up use cases for it that don't need a gimbal. Like it's kind of going back to the top of the show. Does every project require Cook lenses in an Alexa 35? No. And it just feels that's where I'm just like, I love this camera. It's a cool camera. I like the 1-inch sensor. The color science on this looks good. I have some complaints that maybe we talk about next show, just in terms of dynamic range. When I sat down and tested it, I sent that to you last night.
Yep.
But I'm sure that the new ones are going to be
this week.
The new ones are going to be even better. You know, the Extra Muse 2 Pro or whatever, like very cool. But I do not like the form factor of this thing. It doesn't fit in your pocket. It's and the other thing that I just kind of always worry about personally is it feels way more fragile than like a GoPro. It feels more fragile than my FX3, than my A7S, than my like pointed, like it just feels, because you have a mechanical thing there and these arms that kind of lock in place. And like, if you look at the new DJIs, they kind of rattle. Like the tolerances aren't even good in the new 4P. I don't have it. I've just seen it. So I haven't tested it. But like, here's another great use case that not enough people are like, this is why a gimbal is really great. If you want really stable shots at night in dark places, that's where the GoPro falls apart. Electronic image stabilization looks like garbage when you have slower shutter speeds and you're like trying to stabilize in low light. These things kick ass in that, in that arena. But that's just where I'm like, it is just a shower thought that I had, is like, I feel like we're overhyping. It felt to me, to bring it back to this top of the show, like we're trying to sell everybody a Cook lens when you really just needed a G lens to go shoot your dad cam stuff. Like this feels like a better dad cam. So, I'm not shilling for anybody, but it just
compared to, because I have the Insta360 whatever, the Insta360 version of the GoPro, right? Yeah. And I don't use it for any of my behind the scenes because it annoys me.
Yeah.
I think I would use an Osmo more than I would use that.
Yep. And I told you, for tracking stuff, that's great.
But also, like, I wouldn't trust, like, for example, I've done a handful of behind the scenes stuff on the phone when I've given it to like my wife to shoot some behind the scenes. Yeah. I wouldn't trust her to hold that camera and have it look good. I would trust her to hold the Pocket Osmo, or the Osmo, the Luna, all these freaking names, man.
Yeah, they're all a gimbal camera. Let's just call it a gimbal camera.
A pocket gimbal camera. Yeah. I feel that footage would look better
than a GoPro.
Yeah. Than a GoPro or the that form factor. I would trust the pocket gimbal camera to look better than a pocket action camera.
Sure.
For in a novice's no skill set at holding a camera, I feel the footage and image would look cleaner on a gimbal camera, on a gimbal pocket camera, than on a action cam. Now, I think for mounting, the action cam form factor is beat. It can be beat. Like, it is a smarter. But I constantly see on YouTube, Instagram Reels, is all the freaking car videos being shot with these pocket cameras now.
Well, and that, honestly, even though you said it flipped, I'd say that's another huge win for these type of gimbal cameras, because we've all had GoPros that you mount just like a couple of degrees wrong, and you get, you don't know. You're either doing rollers with a car, or you're doing snowboard runs or whatever, and you're like, shoot, that's just my chin or whatever, or like it's not even pointed at the car. So being able to track and doing, rollers on you're just tracking another car, it's a great use case. It's like, that's where I would pick a gimbal over an action cam.
And that's where I think putting it in the hand of a novice. And I think that's the use case that, again, like, for me, this is my argument for them over action cameras, is that in the hands of a novice, to point it at a kid and have the kid running around and it tracks them, that's the gimbal. Like, and it could be just the feature of the tracking, but I think it's also a little easier, just a little smoother, rather than these weird whip pans. Having a wife who, even though her husband is a director and a cinematographer, cannot take a photo or a video that looks good to save her life or my life. Cannot. And she knows it. I know it. We all know it. And she doesn't care. She's like, it's just not what I'm going to ever be good at, and I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I look at the use case of that individual, and I go, that's who this camera would be great for.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the totally opposite side of the spectrum on that one, just because I feel like these cameras are more complex. You have to, like, there's more of a menu to get it to look right, in my opinion.
Really?
Than just like, I mean, there's one
red button
on the top of a GoPro that you just, here, push that and point it at the subject. And like, but I don't know. To me, it's just form factor at the end of the day, though, too. Like I said, I have both cameras, and I would look at the new Osmo 4P as another tool. I just feel like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this stacks up in a couple of, years. I was going to throw this up too.
Two comments that I want to jump into these comments too.
Yeah. So, I was like, it took me a minute, so I apologize, guys.
I
was ranting. I was trying to piss people off by my.
As you noticed, I got pissed off. I don't know if I agree with you, because we bought enough action cameras and we don't use them.
Yeah,
we bought enough. Both of us have bought so many action cameras and don't use them for vlogging or anything else. Like, we don't do it for that. And so that's where. So in terms of your phone, this is my argument for it. I completely agree, 100% agree. However, I also want a phone to be a phone. I don't want a phone to be a vlog camera. And so I think spending less than $1,000 on a camera that will last you for several years, I think is a good. I think it can be a good investment if you're going to take it seriously. Now, I'm not saying your first video, before you shoot your first video, you need to go get a camera like this. But you've done a handful of videos. You're starting to make TikToks. You've done it, like, you're doing it great. And you want your phone to be a phone again. Any of these cameras, an action camera or a gimbal camera, are good.
Yeah.
That's
but I do like this idea of just like, there's no barrier to entry. Use your phone first, get good, make sure you can be consistent at
consistency
schedule. Like, and there's so much more that goes into being a creator than just making videos. Like, you have to make sure you can actually do it. What's up, Todd? Todd, we got to just have you on, man. Todd's made it to the channel. I love it. Thank you for that
too, which was a good point. But again, I think I don't know the battery life of these cameras. You know?
I would never trust it. So here's how my system lives right now, which this is not an interchangeable battery, but I think you could almost get there. So I would never, let's see, trust that. That's the camera. Let me just put it here. Okay, that's the camera. I would never trust that. I always have the extra battery grip thing attached to it, which does, complaint-wise, make the form factor a little bit worse.
Yeah, so you're cheating a little bit. So take that off. Take it off.
But also, it's only going to last 45 minutes if I'm just using the camera. So then I'm not taking it anywhere. I do think, though, because I'm a huge fan of replaceable batteries. We talked about it. I think Todd on the show last week when we talked about the DJI mics and all these mics with built-in batteries that you can't replace. I think if you bought a couple of these, though, you could be kind of set. Yeah, you could be kind of set, and then that's your swappable battery. So that would work. I
mean, that is a replaceable battery, essentially. It is a battery pack. That's the same way that an Alexa uses a Beamer.
Yeah, you're just not swapping it the same way you would on a GoPro. But I think that interchangeable batteries,
that's easier. That's an argument for the GoPro or for the gimbal camera rather than the GoPro, is that you can just go boom, boop, boop.
But, and then, so Todd or Burlap and Light Productions, you guys are going to have to tell me, do you have that on the Luna Ultra yet? Or are you still waiting on those? Because that's just where I haven't, I know the rollout of the Muse stuff.
But also, are they just USB-C powered? Because you can also,
so you could just plug it in, but then talk about form factor. Then now you've got that. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, but again,
running a battery pack to your.
It just comes down to use.
Okay, Todd's getting the battery thing tomorrow, so that's good because that is my, maybe the reason why I can't have an electric car yet, because range anxiety would kill me. I'm the one that has 9 batteries for every model of anything that I buy.
Having had a Tesla for 3 years, it was fantastic. I never had to go to a gas station. I can charge it every night. It's like the iPhone, except it actually lasts for a whole day. And having road tripped many a times in a Tesla is fantastic. I'm just going to say that.
Yep.
So
you're doing the same thing that I am then. I do, to me, and when I complained about this form factor, it includes this because it has to include this. It doesn't leave. But then I have to break it down when I put it in my travel kit. So,
all right. So
anyway,
Colden out of the blue is now pro GoPro, and you have some news about GoPro too.
Should we do that one? Let's do that one. I guess we'll jump there first.
I'm trying to set you up.
This is a weird one. No, I appreciate it. So we've got that. We've got to talk about the RX10 V, which is, I guess we'll end on that.
I think we
anybody that wants to hang out on that. I said I was going to try and piss everybody off by the end of this episode. So here's a little bit of GoPro hate, I guess. I just saw this. This literally was a press release that came out today. It's not camera related, but it kind of is. So GoPro fanboys, you'll have to kind of tell me how you read this, because I only read it as shady. Probably isn't. Full disclaimer here first before we break into this. Not a finance guy, camera nerd guy, YouTube guy. Not a finance guy, so I don't know 100% of how this breaks down. But
or even really 100% of what it means.
Nick Woodman, who's the CEO of GoPro, is giving GoPro a $20 million loan to basically keep the lights on for the next couple of months. Now, this is okay, that's, to me, you read that and you go, okay, this is the CEO who's invested in the company. He's putting in his own cash to keep this thing running. Here's where I have concerns, or just that's a little funky. It's not an equity investment. So Jake, you run your own business, right? If the business needs more money, you can put your own capital and equity into the business to keep it going, right? He's giving GoPro a $20 million loan in senior secured notes and warrants to purchase the company's stock. This is the only part that made me kind of go, huh? And I had to kind of chat GPT it and go, okay, talk to me like I'm stupid. What's going on here? Because my understanding is
buying stock.
No. He is giving them a $20 million loan. Let me switch to this one too, so you get a little bit more kind of background info. $20 million loan at a 6.5% interest rate that is accumulated annually throughout the life of the loan. So it continues to compound on the loan itself. So he's going to make more money every year because they can't pay it back until the end of the loan. It is, when you're a senior secured note, you get priority status. I've got a weird echo coming back from you right now, Jake. You get priority status on repayment, which means he gets his 20 million back. So worst case, the company goes bankrupt. He gets his 20 million back before any stockholder, any junior loan gets paid. So, and the other kind of cop out or like thing that he gets, carve out that he gets, is he gets to buy 25.7 million shares at 77 cents per share. Currently, it's 73 cents a share. So it's not a good deal right now. But he's got an option to buy. So basically what I read this as is he's fully protected on his 20 million before shareholders. Like, he gets his 20 million out before anybody else. If the company gets sold, he gets his 20 million out plus the interest in full. And if GoPro does really well, he gets the option to buy another 25 million, 25.7 million at a discount, assuming this, if this goes up to $1, you've made 25% return on $25 million on top of the 6.5% loan. I don't know. It just, so somebody who's more into this than I am, tell me what I'm not reading. But that sounds like Nick just hedged his bets on both sides. He's going to make a bunch of money if they go do well, and he's going to keep all his money.
I mean, he's betting. I mean, obviously he's betting on his company. He's obviously betting on his company
read that as betting on the company? Do you guys read that as betting on the company?
Okay. I'm going to make sure
because if you bet on the company
correctly,
if you bet on the company, you put 20 million of equity in. You don't give them a loan that says I get my money back before anybody gets their money back.
I think he's hedging his bets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it either way. Like I think he's hedging his bet. He's like, look, I have no idea where we're going, but we're gonna, hopefully this goes right. And if it goes sour, like I think he's had a really good team of lawyers and accountants make sure that he can't get fucked either way this goes.
Yeah.
Obviously I think he, wants his company to do well, but at the same time, he's like, look, if it doesn't do well, I'm saved. But also if it does well, I'm going to make a butt ton of money.
He'll be fine. Yeah. He'll make plenty of money.
Especially if you could already give 20 million. I think he's already doing fine.
This is also, though, Nick Woodman's ability to run a company. And my issue too, and again, like I'm biased. I think I just don't like the guy that much in terms of his CEO ability. But at this point, all the way through to this point, he was the highest paid CEO in the country.
Wow.
So while he was doing this with his company,
in 2 years,
he was also the highest paid CEO. And now it's here. So I just have like I don't know. That didn't read to me like this guy's jumping in and he's going to save GoPro. Maybe like not, yeah. He's going to make money whether they fail or not.
I think.
And yeah. I don't like, I guess I have an issue with CEOs that will cut in line of shareholders during bankruptcy. Like, I'm going to get all my money out first before any of you see a dime. Don't love that.
Yeah. And, I think this is really beautifully said.
Yep.
And which is that's what I kind of what I was trying to elicit in what I was saying. But I think this is really, really well said.
Yep. So I thought it was an interesting, just a corporate bond type of deal. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, how it's worded. It just, I don't know. Like I said, not a finance guy. Don't know the intricacies of this deal. It was literally announced this morning and I went, huh, that's interesting, on this company that we were hoping was going to get revived by this camera right here. So we'll see how that goes. Just thought it was interesting, and so wanted to cover it, and we'll see what happens with GoPro moving forward. I hope they do well, but they've made some interesting decisions for me to not want to buy this camera right now. I wouldn't want to jump into that. As much as I said I like this form factor, clearly I have one. I wouldn't buy a new one right now till I see what actually happens with the company. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think what's most telling is the stock graph that you showed it. You know? And
but in terms of like that, and I saw this on a Reddit article too. If you look at Arashi too, which is Insta360s, it doesn't look a lot different. It's just a hard market to be in.
Which stock graph?
I think it's Arashi Global.
Oh, for
it's the one that it's the company that owns Insta360. Yeah. Again, like somehow we shifted this into I don't know, Jake, are you pulling it up?
I am.
We shifted this into a finance podcast, which is not my sweet spot. You want to talk about niching down, Jake? I'm not in my niche right now. I just I can hate on GoPro for 5 minutes. So you'll have to figure out where I think it's Arashi Global or something.
My computer is going really slow, but I'm trying to pull it all up right now. But I think, look, there's something, and I think it's the thing that I know you and I admire about us, to be fucking pretentious and kind of an asshole about us. But
here you go. I got it. I got you. Okay. I got you beat.
Yeah, my company's.
So this is what Insta360 looks like.
Yeah, but if you look, well, it's still 150 point. Yeah, Yeah,
it's just a hard space to be in, and it's hyper competitive, and there are a lot of players that are out there.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think this is 100% GoPros.
What is DJI's?
Oh, that's they've done. I think it looks similar, but not quite as bad. Also, I don't know, because I don't know if are they publicly traded? They have to be publicly traded.
I'm pretty sure they're publicly traded.
Well, if you want to look at that, and see if you can cut in. I was going to jump to our last thing.
Well, I was just going to say one last point on it. Is I think, and yes, we're not experts on this, and yes, we're by far I don't say the least qualified, but in the bottom, the low 20% qualified to speak on it. But why I like us speaking about it and looking at it is because how it affects our industry.
Yeah,
this affects the gear we buy, the companies we decide to invest in. Like to kind of go back to the gear investment thesis, which one of the theses of this episode, right, is, I'm a Canon guy. You're a Sony guy. I'm kind of hosed on lenses, because I'm in Canon. I've decided to invest in Canon. Sigma makes some lenses for me, but like compared to you and Sony, everybody makes Sony lenses.
Yeah.
And so I think us knowing what companies to invest in, because we're not just investing in the gear. Like we're not investing in the company in the stock market standpoint, but we are investing in this company of like, this company is going to be around and we're going to live in their ecosystem for the next however long term. Looking at GoPro, like I stepped away from GoPro after the GoPro 8. I was like, I'm not going to invest in GoPro anymore.
Yeah.
The same way, like you're in the iPhone, Apple ecosystem, or you're in the Android ecosystem. Like you invest in the ecosystems. And so to look at it from a more holistic viewpoint of how is the stock doing? How is the company as a whole doing? Do we like where the vision's going? I think it's something that content creators, filmmakers should be looking at. And so, yes, were we giving financial advice? Hell no.
No.
But for us to speculate and go, hey, is this a company worth buying gear and also supporting? Not only for us, but also, do we want to give them $500? Do we like where the company's vision is going?
Yeah.
Yes or no? So I think it's something good for content creators, filmmakers, is to look at these stuff, even if it's scary and not understandable or this or that. What does this mean? Well, you got to first look at it and first start reading it. Use AI to be like, copy paste, explain this to me in the most simplest terms, like it's to a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And, use it as a thought partner. And so,
yeah.
But that's my bigger thought on this.
Did we lost Jake? Oh, we were going to tell him about Canon's gimbal camera. There we go. Jake, you jumped out.
I just clicked.
You had this mic drop moment. You cleaned up my rant. You said this is what we should all do as creators, and bye, and just left us. Well, I'm glad you made it back in. Burlab and Light Productions wanted to make sure you knew. I think we were gonna cover this.
I think it was like a 5-second thing. We went, bam, look at this. Okay, move on.
And that's also part of my, like, is it overhyped? Is because, like, okay, Canon's got a patent one too. Also, I want bets for anybody here watching. Does that ever come out? And if it does come out, how behind the technology are they? Because that's the big reason. And they've come back on their cinema cameras. Their mirrorless lines finally kind of caught back up. They've released a couple of really cool cameras, but like, they were so far behind for so many years. After the 5D, they did this what Sony's doing now, which is just like, we're good for 10 years. We're not going to update any camera. We're going to give you minimal updates. So we'll see. Do you think that Canon gimbal thing is ever going to come out? Because the renders looked cool, but I don't think so. I think they patented it and they're just going to let it sit.
Patent and do what? I don't know. I think it will come out, but it might be, dollar late, dollar short. I don't know, whatever that saying is.
I don't think it'll sell, but that's where I'm like, is this pocket thing a hype? But last thing let's cover, because it is near and dear to my heart, and I don't think anybody else, if you guys are watching, tell me if you even followed this release, because I don't know. There were two. Oh, see, Jake, we lose you when you drop. You don't come back into this layout.
Bud.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I don't know what happened. I think I was clicking my mouse. Oh, that's what happened. I accidentally right-clicked, and then I accidentally
just logged out.
Left-clicked and clicked back.
Oh, that's not good. So
that was what happened.
Did you guys see that the RX10, this is Sony's new flagship. It's not a flagship. It's a little point and shoot camera. That's a really weirdly interesting camera. So they just dropped today. I watched the live release of this camera. Now everybody's kind of talking about this camera. The RX10 Mark V is this little, Jake, I want your thoughts on this. It's an interesting beginner-esque. So it's near and dear to my heart because this was actually the RX10 Mark II.
Let's see those specs.
The RX10 Mark II was the first Sony camera I ever bought. This is what got me into and the cool part is it's got a built-in lens. So here are some of the key specs here. 20 megapixel, 1-inch stacked CMOS sensor. So you get 20 megs. This is the cool part though. You get a 24 to 600 lens, starts at a 2.8, goes to a 4. So that's a 25 times zoom in a little tiny camera body.
You're doing this like tiny. No, it's like this.
Well, but the zoom extension, I'm saying this with the zoom extension because
okay.
Think about what is it? 200 to 600? The 200 to 600 alone is this big.
Beast of the lens, yeah.
Yeah. You get 4K up to 120. They added in their all their 10-bit. They've got S-Cinetone in it now. They've got S-Log 3. It's got a decent EVF. The weird thing is that they brought back, or they kept, their tilting LCD, which is like, that's their oldest LCD. It's not great, especially for anybody that wants to shoot vertical or shoot and vlog. It's just a weird decision. They added the NPF 100 battery.
I don't think this is a vlog camera. That's the thing. Like, it's
but
not
it's
a
this
vlog
weird. And then this is the weird thing though too.
I have thoughts.
It's bloody expensive. I had to go back and see what I bought mine for. So mine originally, the Mark II only had, it had 24 to 200, which I was like, oh, that's great. Why do I need any more than that? They've added from then 200 to 600, but I spent $1,300 on the Mark II. It's now $1,000 more expensive. So, okay, you said you had thoughts.
So I think this is perfect for anybody who's getting into like wildlife, nature, wildlife. Like, it's a much more niche camera. But I also think like it's one of those weird, like, I'm like weirdly into it. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, now is it a little expensive?
I mean,
should it have been, $1,800, $1,900? Maybe, but also like, I mean, inflation is a bitch.
Yeah. Look at, so there's the 600.
Dang. See, and
like,
shooting wildlife.
Watch this. It's
exactly.
Nuts. Yeah.
Exactly.
They brought in the blackout, like the blackout free shooting too. So you do 30 frames a second with blackout free shooting. Like, they brought some interesting stuff into it. And you nailed it with kind of what they're going
and that's
for.
Exactly what I was like. It's the person who wants the, 100 to 600 lens, that 400 to 600 beast of a lens, but not pay $3,000 for the lens plus a body.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I'm going to travel. I'm going to take, I want a, kind of that lower level prosumer DSLR mirrorless camera. And I want to take great photos and like video, but I don't want to spend the money on a separate lens and a separate body. I want it all in like a single camera bag with an SD card. And yeah, I think it's a great, now look, a couple $100 more expensive than like, I don't think you'd get it less than $1,800, but like, to me, like, okay, great. It's $2,300. Okay. But you get stuff like this.
Yeah.
What I'd love to see if it had a,
this is where I wanted to pause it to talk to you guys. Cause I know we got Fuji and Lumix people. And so it's interesting that like, to compete, you can't compete with Fuji in their like their JPEG color profiles. I know, Jake, you love just going out and point shooting with Fujis. They've added these like color profiles in. And so they're touting that now. This is their main release. And they're touting these like, look, we built in these JPEG color profiles for you too. I like the macro stuff.
I was going to say, is if there was a macro adapter for it also.
No, it's like 6 centimeters or something.
But that's my point.
On the wide end.
Built in. I was gonna say, okay, if you sell, maybe there's an upgrade bundle where you can, but if it's built-in macro too, I think this is a fantastic camera for the Sony line. I think the hardest thing is going to be breaking the noise, is getting enough awareness of it so that it can sell. But I think it's, question is, does it have IBIS?
It does have IBIS.
I'm
99% certain, but it's a little, the hard part for me, which is why I actually, I gave this camera to my dad as a gift because he likes, it's exactly what you said. Actually, he likes, Breaking the Noise is my new band name. I like that. Do you see?
But again, like right there, the parent who wants to photograph and video their kid, not with an iPhone, but like that, like entry level, or just that one step above that prosumer, sports photography, prosumer, wildlife photographer, videographer, like perfect camera. Are you kidding me? A 600 is great. Like the 200 is cool, but like a 600, oof.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
This
Was this when they
plus
got
a
over it?
fucking Osmo.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you guys are nailing it with where this is. It's like that all-in-one type of camera that doesn't totally break the bank. And maybe it's me because I bought it so long ago, but like 1,300, 1,400 for a little 1-inch sensor camera felt expensive at the time, but it wasn't like, this feels like you could almost get you can get an A7 III or A7 IV used for the same price. You're not going to get the 600 millimeter.
But to get 24 to 600.
Right.
Like I look at this as, granted, it was not the fields that I was going into, but like I look at this post-college, right? I'm 22 years old, 23 years old, or whatever it was. And if I was like, hey, I'm going to travel and I want to be a travel landscape photographer or a wildlife photographer, or, you know, I shot my brothers were big athletes. And I was like, great, I want to be an athlete. I want to be an NFL photographer. I'm in college. How do I get anything that's worth, like, you can't do it with a 24 to 70. You can't do it with even a 70 to 200 is not going to give you what you need. Like you're going to need that 100 to 400. You're going to need something up to 600 to have that with a $2,300 camera and do action sports. Like live streaming. I'm like, you're not going to really need that. Like, that's cool. It's a cool bonus, but like, I look at it as you're going out there, you get some small little vlog camera, or you can do this on a 24, you know, if you want it. Like if you need, you can turn this around and do a vlog out of it. Yes. Should it have been an alternating screen rather than just a full, you know?
Yeah,
tilt?
they should have. That would have been a nice upgrade for them to kind of consider who this camera is for.
I don't think I think they're like, okay, we're going to lose out on that one thing because people will prefer to use it for this. And in this content where, you know, it's being shown on the screen right now, the animals, the sports, that's 100% where this is going to live.
Yep. It's an interesting refresh. It's very much just a refresh, but I think you nailed it in terms of what it's for, what it's not for, and kind of who it's for. Now, okay, last question, and then we can do our sign off. Would you rather? I think I already know the answer, but it does 4K 120. You do get 4K 120 at the crop. Would you rather?
You get even more than 600.
No. Well, I mean, you can crop in, but I'm talking about video specs. You get 4K at 120 frames a second.
Okay.
At 600. Would you rather have 400 to 600 zoom, or would you rather have 1,000 frames per second video?
400 to 600.
Yeah.
For this, 100%.
Yeah. What's
that
weird?
That extra focal length, because you can't get that like in a single carry camera like this, fixed lens. Like, I'm like, I have no use case for it. But
you don't. I would tell you not to get it. Don't do this.
Recently, because I'm like, it just like, I even coming up as a young filmmaker, like I used my 18 to 200, 18 to 135 stock lens. Yeah. And I loved it. It was a 4.3, it was a 4 to 5.6 stock lens, but it gave me 18 to 200. And I used that in my 50 prime starting out. And like, I was able to get stuff that I really liked. And I go back to 23-year-old Jake, who rocked that for 2-3 years and cut my teeth on it. And so I look at this as like, okay, you're getting this is the first, like, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in a camera. To me, this is a great, you know, and I know, you know, who said that earlier, right?
Use your iPhone?
No.
Oh.
You know, it's good for parents and retirees. Sure.
Yeah.
100% parents and retirees. But I also see 23-year-old Jake going, oh, I can shoot 4K. I could at 120. I could go 24 to like, and this is me not knowing about focal lengths and prime and this and that. But like, you're at an f4, like this camera solves a lot of problems that like 24-year-old Jake 22-year-old Jake, even 18-year-old Jake, who doesn't know anything about it, who would have saved up his money, and I would have gone Sony.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I wanted to cover it.
Which was, as you say, this was your first camera.
This was my first camera in Sony's space, and it was a huge sell to me that I got. Now, I only got 24 to 200, but that covers it covers 2/3 of your trifecta, right? You got a 24 to 70, and you got a 70 to 200. And I will say, though, for that Mark II that I bought, it was all at an f2.8. So I literally was like, well, shoot, I'm coming from Canon. So I'm going, okay, a 2.8, 24 to 70, that's a couple $1,000. And then the 70 to 200 L lens, that's a couple $1,000. This is a great deal.
Plus the body.
Plus the body. They gave, it was funny at the time. They had 960 frames a second in 1080. And I was like, oh, because GoPro couldn't even do that. Like, that was a crazy amount of slow motion for sports and stuff like that. We talked about that on like one of the first podcasts we did. It was trash. It didn't look very good, but it was a cool feature that they hadn't built into another camera before. So it was an interesting launch. I would have liked to see them refresh this a little bit more, but you've got something pulled up.
Oh, hold on. I want to share my screen.
Oh, you cut it.
We're going to
reshare it. We can throw it back up there.
Basically, I just pulled up, look, are these it's not even the G lens. They're 200 to 600, right?
Yeah.
Is $2,100.
Yeah. But is the G a fixed aperture?
No, that's their 5.6 to 6.3.
Oh, okay. So you've got that. Yeah.
It's $2,000. So my point is, this camera is still about the same price as that lens. And this is technically a faster lens because it's a 4 at that f-stop. And it fits in your pocket. Now, is the image
doesn't fit in your pocket?
No. I meant like pocket as
fits
in
in your gear bag.
It's a small camera bag. My point is, it's not that lens. That's a serious camera lens. Yeah. Right. Plus any camera body that's worth its weight is going to be at least $1,500 minimum. You're not going to put that lens on anything less than $1,500 camera body, if not a $3,000 camera body. So you're out $5,000. So for 20.
The other thing that was a cool feature for me.
See, I am fanboying over this. And
the other thing that I hadn't seen in a little point and shoot like this ever before I bought this camera is it's got its own like aperture ring here that is clicked or unclicked. So you can rack apertures if you're a filmmaker and you're going outside to inside. Like, it was just they made some interesting choices with this line to give you like prosumer-esque. Some weird stuff. So, Jake's gonna end up buying it. No, I'm gonna not let him buy it. He does not need. He does not need more stuff. But
I am a fan. Like, I just think, it's
an interesting.
think it's a good camera. Like, we talk about cameras every week. We talk about a new camera.
Yep.
And why would you get that? What? And most of the time, it's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So much of what we talk about, we go. Which literally we started with, like, right before this was, is the Osmo or these gimbal cameras a fad? And is this actually worth the $700? To me, I look at this camera and this would be 100% what I would get 18 to 22, 24-year-old Jake. I would 100% invest in this camera. Like, split it with my parents. If my parents were willing to give me any money for it, like beg, borrow, steal, like whatever I would need to do, because I look at this as a perfect entry level. You want to get above a point of shoot. You want to get like an actual DSLR. You want to be a real photographer. Even though it's fixed lens, it's 24 to 600. Like, you can learn every style of photography, every style of filmmaking. You could shoot weddings. Like, you can shoot anything you want on this. And I think I just think it's a perfect, and I think for that, it's well priced. Look, it's competitive. It's a little expensive, but I think out of all the cameras we've talked about recently, this is a camera that I go, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense and is very cool.
It was, I mean, I still speak favorably about it. I like it. Don't log off yet. Like, don't drop your mic and then get off of the stream, please. But yeah, it's a cool, I'm glad you liked it. I don't know who's going to actually buy it. I don't think anybody here is going to be putting their credit card down on it. It's not as exciting as the FX5 launch that's supposed to be coming in a couple of weeks. So we'll talk about a new camera then too, hopefully. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's an interesting camera.
But I think it just needs to be marketed to the right people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it needs to be marketed to the right people. And I think if it's marketed to those niches well, I think the camera will do well.
Yep. I mean, I think we've brought ourselves to another hour and 50 minute podcast episode. You guys that have been hanging out with us, thank you, and putting in your comments. It always makes the show more fun when we get everybody's involvement here. Todd, thanks for coming and hanging out. Burlap Light Productions, thank you guys for sticking with us the whole time. Appreciate it. Jake, anything else before we sign off and talk to each other in 5 minutes? You guys, if you don't know, Todd kind of knows. We get off of this and then we just talk for we have a whole nother podcast just by ourselves.
So. Yeah, we have a solo podcast that's not live streamed that we do right after this. And it's
an audience of 2.
Great. It gets very ridiculous. That's, we give our actual honest thoughts on what we just said. No, I think it's good. I think I'm looking forward to seeing the Odyssey coming up. I think that's
all right. Maybe we got to cover that next time because it's
I got
some traction.
I don't even have tickets for it. It's because I have the tickets for the week after because everything was sold out everywhere.
Sold out. Yep.
So we're gonna be late to that. Any conversation on that? Brother.
Todd needs a beer. Todd, we got you.
I need a beer, and they keep talking. Yep. All right. We'll sign off. Thank you, everyone, for sticking for the long haul. We appreciate you guys.
All right, guys. Until next episode. Episode 15. We're just trucking along, Jake. Let's go. All right, guys. Until next week. I almost said I'm Jake. I'm Colden.
All
right. See you later, guys.